Boyfriends and gym buddies, Taekook recently gifted us with a much talked about new vlog via Jungkook's blog. From the very first moment, it's truly beautiful to watch the two train together. Literally, the Taekooks are so attractive, so full of energy, so sexy and strong, that it's impossible to take your eyes off them. Those muscles, that connection, that demeanor that perfectly reflects what it means to be a couple who vibrate to the same rhythm. Even when they're in the middle of a training routine, they can't hide how in love they are, and that's what makes it even more special. Love permeates every movement, every gesture, every glance they exchange. The way Jungkook looks at Taehyung is simply devastating to anyone's heart. It's a gaze that needs no words, a gaze filled with tenderness, admiration, and desire. And when Taehyung gently strokes Jungkook's head or places his hand on his shoulder, it feels like the world stops for a moment. These are moments that convey an ocean of feelings. I'm crying from how in love and tender they are with each other, because it's not a love shown for the camera, it's a love that escapes unintentionally. Taekook's karma really comes fast, and this vlog is proof of that. These moments become so special precisely because we're not watching content produced, edited, or designed by a third party. What we're seeing is real and authentic. Taehyung and Jungkook recorded their own content without the intervention of staff, without personnel guiding them every step or telling them how to behave. There's no external script here, just two people being themselves and sharing their routine as they would in private. And that detail changes everything, because it allows us to feel like witnesses of a unique, intimate, and deeply sincere moment. Nothing compares to what happens here when compared to projects like Are You Sure?, where every step is observed, supervised, and surrounded by multiple team members. There's beauty in that kind of production, but also a barrier, a distance that inevitably makes a difference. In this vlog, however, we see Taehyung recording brief moments of Jungkook, and Jungkook taking the camera to capture Taehyung while he was training. That simple act of switching roles between the one filming and the one being filmed becomes a metaphor for true love, a constant give and take, a mutual accompaniment, a being present at all times. This isn't a polished video or a planned montage. This is love without embellishment, love without the staff's gaze, love where only Taehyung and Jungkook exist and understand each other in their own secret language. It's pure love, reflected in the smiles, in the gestures of connection, in the shared silence, and in the certainty that they will always be by each other's side. And perhaps that's the true magic of this vlog, showing us that the most authentic love doesn't need grand stages, because it only takes two people looking at each other the way they do for the whole world to surrender. Taehyung was active on Weverse and incredibly kind in responding to some comments, but the most surprising thing is that, once again, he decided to respond to the Taekookers. Can you imagine the meaning of this gesture? It's not a simple detail or a coincidence, it's yet another confirmation of the special connection they've always shown. Every time this happens, it not only moves us, but also reminds us of the obvious. Taehyung and Jungkook are two people who constantly make their love clear, a union that shines through in every interaction and becomes silent but powerful proof in the face of those who try to deny what we all see. The most fascinating thing is that while we Taekookers celebrate these signs, the jungkookers are once again made fools of by their senseless fantasies. Time and again, reality contradicts them. Taekook proves with every gesture that theirs is not an illusion, but a strong, sincere love that is always present in their minds and hearts. And it's precisely in that strength that the impact lies. When someone tries to challenge Taekook, they simply expose themselves, because they don't know who they're messing with or how big a deal they're facing. And as if that weren't enough, Jin also responded to a Taekooker. This detail further fueled the excitement among those of us who closely follow his every move, because we all know what happens next. The jungkookers immediately begin to invent rumors, distortions, and excuses for not accepting the truth. Some will say that Jin didn't know what he was answering, others will even go so far as to say it was Taehyung using Jin's account. The theories are many, but in the end, they all fall flat. Because beyond the attempts to confuse, what we see time and time again is Taehyung and Jungkook together, steadfast and in love. That love, which can no longer be hidden, becomes more clear every day. Every glance, every gesture, and every coincidence reinforces the certainty that their relationship continues to grow and become more evident. Isn't it impossible to deny something so authentic? Although we know these kinds of displays arouse the fury of Taekook's haters, in the end, no matter how angry they get or how many theories they invent, the truth always ends up shining brighter. The present and the future show us that Taehyung and Jungkook will continue to walk hand in hand, teaching us that their love is something that transcends rumors and pointless arguments. We see it, we feel it, and we celebrate it. Every step they take together confirms that this is not a mere passing bond, but a deep one that is destined to last. And although some may find it hard to accept, the truth is that this is Taekook's world, and we all live in it. One of the strongest aspects of Taehyung and Jungkook's relationship is the way they communicate without speaking. It's not just fleeting glances or superficial gestures, but a silent connection that seems to speak louder than any words. When they're together, their body language becomes an invisible bridge connecting what they feel, and this way of understanding each other feels so natural that, even with thousands of eyes watching them, it seems like they inhabit a space of their own, where only the two of them exist. Isn't it fascinating how, in a world full of distractions, they manage to build a bubble where they only need each other to express themselves? Some people believe that everything that happens between them is part of fan service or a carefully staged spectacle for the cameras. However, those who observe carefully can tell the difference between what is planned and what is authentic. Fan service is usually a brief device, designed to entertain, but what happens between Taehyung and Jungkook transcends the act. Their gazes linger a second longer than expected, their gestures don't seem forced, and the small touches they share have a naturalness that's impossible to fake. Could a performance that's lasted for years be sustained with such consistency if there wasn't something else behind it? A clear example of this connection is reflected in Taehyung's interactions on Weverse. On one occasion, he was especially active, responding kindly to various comments, but what was truly surprising was that, once again, he decided to respond directly to Taekookers. This detail, which might seem minor to some, carries enormous weight for those who have closely followed their story. Is it a coincidence? Hardly. Rather, it's a gesture that confirms, once again, that there is a special bond that's impossible to hide. Every response from Taehyung to that part of the fandom feels like a sign of recognition, a reminder that there's something evident in the way he and Jungkook present themselves to the world. Every time something like this happens, the reaction isn't just momentary enthusiasm, but a collective reaffirmation of what has always been present. Taehyung and Jungkook project a constant affection, a complicity that goes beyond the stage. The audience not only perceives it, but experiences it as a certainty that is renewed with each gesture. The most fascinating thing about this bond isn't in any single gesture, but in the sum of them all. At first glance, they might seem like spontaneous, almost trivial moments, but upon closer inspection, an invisible structure is revealed, an emotional routine that repeats itself over and over again. Taekookers know this, these aren't coincidences, but intimate habits that reveal closeness. Jungkook leaning toward Taehyung as if it were natural, Taehyung searching for Jungkook in the crowd with his eyes, both finding ways to get closer even when the situation doesn't require it. These are small repetitions that build a pattern, a silent choreography that only they know. This consistency is what makes their relationship feel more than just a game, but something profound and true. Because what is born of habit and naturalness can hardly be faked. And, in the end, what is most revealing isn't a specific moment, but rather the series of scenes that, when repeated, paint the picture of the intimacy of two people who seem destined to always be together, even when the whole world is watching.